Hello, my name is Janine Stegall. My maiden name is Janine Padmore, and my grandparents are May Padmore and George Padmore. I am the daughter of Edwin Padmore. My mother is an American, and her name is Brusetta Howard. And my parents met at Michigan State, and my return to Liberia was maybe at around a year and a half or 2 years old. My parents were living in Liberia. Sadly, they got divorced, and I went to live with my grandmother. And so my upbringing was with my grandparents, May Padmore and George Padmore. And so I grew up in Monrovia, Liberia, and up until 1980. So a lot of my foundation years and my memories are very strong from my time in Liberia with my grandparents. One of the questions that I wanted to focus on was just those memories of growing up in Liberia and the experiences. I definitely believe that my experience was slightly different because I was with my grandparents in my upbringing. They were well established in the community, and so my exposure was maybe a little different than my other siblings or my cousins. I would have opportunities. My grandmother worked at the executive mansion, and I would go there and be running in the halls. I would go in the kitchen and get food. The cooks there had a nickname for me. They called me butter and rice, because that was my favorite meal to eat. And I can see why, because it just was plain and simple. And my grandfather had his business office on Broad and I think, is that Central? It's where it was Broad Street. It's right at the corner of where the Providence Church is.
Broad and Center Street.
Center Street,
Center
okay.
Street, okay.
Broad and Center Street is where his office was. So I spent a lot of time walking up and down Broad Street. I mean, at the appropriate age. I was a young teenager at the time. And I would say, Daddy, I'm going to go look for this record player, or I'm going to go look for this record. And he'd say, okay, I'll see you in a little bit. And I would go out the office and walk up and down the street and look for my little record player or look for my little record and return with my items that I bought. And there was definitely this sense of freedom. I mean, I think at the appropriate ages, you knew that you were safe, you knew that you were cared for and watched over and attended to, but there was space to grow and learn. My grandparents also had businesses in the farm. My grandfather would go to the farm on the weekends, or my grandmother and I would go with them. So I got to see, the rubber production and how that happened, and I got to meet the people that were working on the farm. My grandfather had cinemas, so on Saturday I would be able to go and watch the movies for free and go up in the viewing room and be able to sit with my cousins and get popcorn, and it was a privileged life. But as I look back, it was giving me lots of opportunities to be exposed to things that otherwise I may not have been. Being able to travel, being able to meet different types of people, when American celebrities maybe came to Liberia. My grandmother might have a evening party, and I would be, of course, in my nightgown, but I would be peeking and listening. And I remember when Pearl Bailey came to Liberia, and I got to come out in the evening. So my dad, Edwin Stanley Padmore, was one. Even now, as I'm living in Liberia and I'm coming across people and say, "Oh, you Ed's daughter? Oh, that Ed was my friend." Oh, that's all I hear.
That's it.
Everywhere I go, "Oh, Ed was my friend." I mean, they give me these little anecdotes of how he helped them, or I mean, like he did something that was really meaningful to them, or he was just a good friend. But I was like, wow, Daddy was friends with everybody, and that is unique. You don't usually find people that really, most of what they have to say is, he had my back, or he helped me out here, and we know that Liberia went through some very tough years, and it seems like even during those tough times, he was always the one to bring the laughter and to bring people together. I recently heard, that someone was sharing an anecdote about, during one of the elections, and how he was trying to bring two different parties together, so I definitely see those attributes in me. Well, as I was sharing, Uncle Arthur's been in my thoughts or my memory ever since I've known myself. Growing up in my grandmother's house, he was always there, always around. I was born the year Uncle Arthur and Auntie Pearline got married. So literally, I knew both of them all at the same time. If Mommy went anywhere, if she traveled, that would be the first house I would be sent to. And so I had my own space there. I had my own place where, I would go when my grandparents traveled, or if I needed to be close to school. When I started going to the American school, I would go to their house, and it just felt like home. Everything related to Uncle Arthur and my memories of him were just home. You felt safe, you felt warm. I used to love going into his studio when he would be making the shows that would air on the radio, the jazz shows. I mean, that's where I also gained a love for jazz.